everybody, and welcome to the F1 Roundtable Podcast. This is, for all intents and purposes, episode 1. Those first few from last spring, more of a beta than anything. I am joined by my new co-host, JK, or JK Gaming, or John. And, Mayhees?
Yes.
I got that right? Yes.
Yes, Mayhees the cat.
That's like your D&D character name, but
But it just carries over. It was such a good character that I created. I'm like, why not just keep it, just as an alias, pretty much.
yes. But yes, we are here for the recap episode for the 2025 F1 season. I nearly said 2024. It's weird that this year's almost over. But yes, the 2025 Formula One season recap episode. Just first and foremost, what did everybody think of this season? Because, I think it didn't live up to the lofty expectations I had for it, but I've seen way more boring seasons in the past.
Well, personally, what I think, going into this season, there was a lot of hype, like, oh, Ferrari is finally going to get it this year, because they were so close with how strongly they finished 2024. There was so much hype that they were going to be the ones to, knock McLaren off their pedestal this year. And instead, we just got McLaren's pedestal rising even higher above everybody else. And Ferrari just nowhere.
Yeah, and Max Verstappen fighting with one hand tied behind his back.
Scoring more points than Ferrari did in total.
What about you, John? What did you think of this season?
I think the end of it was pretty incredible. I'm a big Max fan, and coming back from what was a 104-point deficit.
It was over 100
points. All the way down. That's absolutely insane. Both to how good he was over the end of the season. I mean, the Brazil drive was incredible. Wish he'd got past Kimi. Would have helped a little bit. But I mean, all in all, I think it was pretty good. I haven't been watching as long as other people, but it's definitely one of those special seasons when you consider everything that happened. A lot of the surprises that, not to spoil some later segments, but the Nico Hülkenberg podium, one of those things that you're just like, it's never going to happen. And then racing reminds you that it's one of the best things on earth, and it continues to surprise you. But yeah, I think it was a pretty good season. I was, again, worried McLaren was going to run away with it. Max 100 points back, and then just claws his way back, 2-point deficit at the end. I wish he would have won it, but can't complain with how good the end of the season was for him, and how well, Lando dealt with the pressure at the end of the season also.
And this year of all years for Hülkenberg to get his podium in a Sauber car that didn't even score any point. I think they scored 1 point last year.
It was 1 or 2 with Joe right near the end of the season.
Right.
But
pretty.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So, I when I think of Max's season, I think it really does come down to the mistake he made in Spain, the one mistake that cost him the title this year. We'll probably get into that a little bit more later, but he ran a damn near perfect season and made one mistake all year, and it did cost him.
Yeah, that was the first thing that popped into my mind, and I said it multiple times when we were all talking in Discord about it. And I know obviously Max gets frustrated with the media when they bring it up, and whether, if I remember correctly, watching the onboard footage back, he had a bunch of wheel cranked into it trying to get the car to turn, and 10 seconds was pretty rough. But obviously Max has the history of being a little hot-headed at times, but
he did also turn into him pretty blatantly. Yeah. So,
but when you look back at it, again, like you said, an incredible season, and the reason it gets brought up is because that's the one, I guess, the one moment that was really, he had a lot of, I'm trying to think of the correct words, but it was purely, it's just a mistake. He didn't make many mistakes all season long, and it was just an unforced error, and it cost him big time. The Red Bull ring race also, where Kimi wiped him out. I mean, that's another big missed opportunity, but
However,
that's
that
not
one
really
wasn't his
something
fault.
that was exactly. It wasn't anything in his control. So I think, just that one little, mistake, it shows you how important every point is throughout the season, and it's always a great reminder.
Yes, and this mistake was a little different from any of the others that the drivers made because it was just that seeing red kind of mistake. You look at like driver mistakes, team mistakes, a lot of them added up to really set McLaren back to where it was so close. But that one mistake by Max really just cost so much.
That mistake that he made in Spain it was very reminiscent to Max's incidents in 2024 at Hungary and Mexico, where he just kind of seemingly did shit and didn't really think about it.
Yeah, it wasn't a driver or team error really like most other mistakes are in F1. It was just a rage quit almost kind of mistake.
Yeah, like you think back to that, like I think it is probably most comparable to the Hungary 2024 thing, where he kind of like there was no real reason for why he did what he did. Like in Hungary 2024, he did not need to throw his car up the inside of Lewis Hamilton, and it's kind of a miracle he didn't wreck out. And he didn't need to try and kill George Russell, but he did. Okay, so now that we've talked about Max, let's talk about the man who finally dethroned him. Lando Norris is your 2025 Formula One World Champion, and I have to own up because I didn't think he had it in him. I did not think he was good enough. I thought if McLaren ever built a good enough car, Piastri would beat him. But he soaked up the pressure, and when Piastri forgot how to drive for like the final quarter of the season, he kept it together, held off a hard charging Verstappen, and brought home the crown.
Yeah, it was looking like you were right for half the season and then not so much the last half.
Yeah, I'll own up. I was wrong.
Well, I do think, he is definitely a deserving champion because, when it mattered the most, and like in Brazil and Mexico, those two drives I really come back to. And I think that's really where he won it. Because in Brazil, I was expecting Max to just run away with that race originally because that's one of his very best tracks. And so I'm like, if Max is going to win it, it's going to be here. And that was just a Lando weekend all the way through. And so that race to me was really when I started to feel like it was looking a little bit bleak for Max.
That Mexico drive he had might be the greatest drive he's ever had. He was so dominant that weekend. Nobody could, like, I think he won by like what, 30, 40 seconds? He was untouchable.
It was looking like a Max 2023 win. Excuse me. When he was winning by like 30 seconds every race.
So, John, what do you think? Is he worthy of? Is he a worthy driver of bringing down your boy?
Yeah. I mean, he put to. Again, we talk about mistakes, right? And yes, he had quite a few, but I think they really weren't as damning as they could have been. And he recovered, like you talked about, the end of the season. He drove so well that he recovered really well from like the Canada incident, which you can pin the blame on whoever you want there, depending on what fandom you're a part of.
You look at that Canada incident, and that might be the single most catastrophic accident that I blame on him. Because to me, I think he just drove right into the back of Oscar. Like, his other catastrophic incident was his engine failure, and that wasn't him. He was running second. he probably, if it hadn't been for that engine failure, would have had, and the disqualification in Vegas, would have locked up the title a round early. So, like, he definitely did deserve this. He didn't back into it.
Oh yeah, in the middle part of the season, Max and that Red Bull, they were just nowhere at all. And then at the end of the season, Piastri was looking pretty rough. But Lando, what won it for him was that, like I said, those two drives as well. But mostly, he didn't really have like big long slumps.
He was consistent. He really
Yes.
was. Like, for somebody who's known for choking, that level of consistency he had this year, even if I don't think he was the outright fastest, I think Piastri and Verstappen were, if you throughout the majority of the season, were faster than him, but they would have these just atrocious runs where Norris was second, third most weekends. With, again, I think there were only like 3 rounds where he really like finished horribly, and 2 of them really weren't his fault.
Yeah, that consistency is really what matters. I think it was Hungary where Max was struggling to get into the points, and of course, the Red Bull Ring over in Austria where he just got taken out by Antonelli. Just horrible runs like that really are what cost him.
This is why we love full season points formats.
Absolutely.
To F1 fans, you might be like, "What the hell are you yapping about?" But like, I grew up a NASCAR fan. I don't really watch it anymore because their championship system might be designed by an idiot. Well, it is designed by an idiot.
I was gonna say it might be. It is.
Yeah.
Was that a creation of the current regime, or was that a Brian France decision? I don't remember the timeline anymore.
20. I think 2014 was the first year of this championship format.
Yeah, Brian France didn't get kicked out until he got caught drinking in the Hamptons, and that was like when Elliott. So yeah, that was a Brian France decision.
Yeah,
the playoffs were almost like his goodbye message. We won't remember it fondly.
Yeah. Okay, so just quickly go over the championship standings at the end of the season. As I said before, Lando Norris was your world champion, 423 points. Max Verstappen came up 2 points short, 421. Oscar Piastri was third. George Russell had another one of those like really sneaky, consistent, strong seasons in the championship. He eclipsed 300 points for the first time in his career. Yes, I'm talking about Russell for way too long, but he is my favorite driver. Charles Leclerc, P5. Lewis Hamilton, P6. But honestly, I think his season was worse than P6 in the championship. I'll get to him later. Kimi Antonelli, P7. Alex Albon, P8. And Kimi Antonelli and Albon, for the longest time this season, were in kind of a neck-and-neck battle before Kimi decided to actually remember he was driving a Mercedes for the final third of the year. Carlos Sainz, P9. That's really bolstered by his 2 podiums that both came in the final third of the season. Fernando Alonso brought a shitbox to P10. He truly is a miracle worker. Nico Hulkenberg, P11. Isaac Hadjar, P12. They both had 51 points. I'm not quite sure what the tiebreaker would be. Ali Behrman, P13. Though, honestly, I feel like he drove better than P13. Liam Lawson at P14. Esteban Ocon, P15. Lance Stroll, P16. Yuki Tsunoda, P17. Pierre Gasly, P18. Bortoletto, P19. I'm kind of surprised he finished so low. I feel like he had a fairly strong rookie year. And the 2 essentially interchangeable drivers of Franco Colapinto and Jack Doohan were P20 and 21. And boy, do I have thoughts on that I'm going to get into later. Were there any thoughts on anything there that like shocked you?
Hamilton being higher up a little bit because it just seemed like his season was absolutely so dreadful. The fact that he was only 1 spot behind Charles when it seems like he was normally 3 or 4 spots behind on the racetrack, that surprised me a little bit.
He was 90 points behind Charles. Like Charles 424, Lewis 156. So it's actually not 90. That's like I'm terrible at doing math in my head. It's like 80 something. Um, but yeah, like it was like there was quite the gap there, but he did manage to get P6 basically just because he was in a Ferrari.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, I don't really know if it's. I think we all kind of knew it was going to happen, but wished it wasn't going to happen with Lewis. But I think the Williams duo being so close, I think it's kind of surprising to me. They're both obviously very talented drivers, but I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Carlos probably did a little bit worse than I was expecting.
Oh, I was
I figured he
expecting.
was gonna.
I was expecting.
I figured
Carl.
he would.
Sorry.
I was no. I think we're going on the same track here. I figured he was gonna smoke Albon.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna. I thought Sainz, given how good the car was, I feel like he should have gotten 100 points given his talent level. Yeah, Carlos. The fact that both the Williams guys got in the top 10 kind of surprised me. Like, I was expecting at least one of them to. They had a good car. I wasn't expecting both.
Carlos simultaneously did worse and better than I expected that season. See, I expected, I expected him to like get some good finishes, which he really did at the end, but not like podiums. Like he was, he racked off a couple of those in the end. And then the beginning, I expected him to struggle, not be able to get into the points, but it wasn't just, P12s, P11s. It was like 18ths. So I didn't expect him to struggle that much in the beginning like he did, but he really turned it around and, in the end of the season was doing better than I expected him to do. So worse and better than I expected at the same time.
I almost wonder if we had one more year of this regulation set, how much better Williams would have gotten. They've showed so much like steady improvement, especially since like James Vowell took over. It's been kind of fun to watch. It's always fun rooting for like an underdog team. So
they had this strong season this year, and they cut off car development early on. Like they could have easily been consistently challenging for podiums if they had managed to develop the car correctly. So, yeah, good. Though, you also got to imagine that Ferrari would have kept developing when apparently they cut that off back in like January. So,
I expected Williams to finish like P7, maybe 6 if they were lucky, and they finished P5 in the constructors. They definitely were the surprise of the year for me.
I have to say, Fernando getting into the top 10 in the championship kind of surprised me because that Aston was not a good car for a lot of the year. He is a miracle worker.
I feel like he had a lot of bad luck too. Like he had a lot of DNFs really early in the season also that were just like not of his own doing. Like if I remember, I may be getting that confused with last year, but I mean regardless, still.
I remember Monaco. He was running well within the points, and I was so happy. And then all of a sudden, he just had a mechanical issue, and I was just like, "That was gonna be his first point of the year," and then it just breaks down on him at Monaco, where he's gonna finish where he's running unless something happens, and something happened.
Backed up 3/4 of the field. Yeah.
That Monaco race was a fucking disaster, and I'm gonna get.
Oh really? I was gonna put it in one of my best races of the season.
You liked the Monaco race this year?
No, I was just. It provided one of my favorite moments of the year, honestly, which was George completely cutting the chicane, coming out of the tunnel, and just being like, fuck it, I'll take the penalty. I was like, that's so perfect. Like that is such a so perfectly a George Russell move. I was like,
yeah,
and then they gave him a drive through, and I was like, oh, damn, that really backfired.
Yeah, no. If he hadn't said I'll take the penalty, it would have been a 10-second penalty. I stepped by that.
And that drive through did really cost him though, because I think he finished a couple laps down because of that. And if he didn't finish a couple laps down in that race, he would have completed every lap this season.
Yep, only 2 laps short, and they both were from Monaco, where he finished 2 laps down.
Okay, but here's the thing: that race weekend was probably his worst race weekend in terms of luck because of the whole engine failure in qualifying. I still think he might have had a shot to even win that thing if it hadn't been for that fucking engine failure. But Monaco was just a rough weekend for Mercedes as a whole because I think Antonelli put the car on the wall multiple times that week, which was kind of a
Which, I mean, he's a rookie, he's a rookie, and it's Monaco. How many times have we all put the car in the wall at Monaco in the F1 games?
Oh yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason I don't race Monaco on the F1 games.
Yeah. There's a reason why I usually do 16 race seasons and skip Monaco.
Oh, I do damage off at that point.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick rundown on the constructors. McLaren absolutely cleaned up. 800 points. They got damn near double the points of Mercedes. Mercedes P2. Red Bull managed to get 400 points in P3, which is amazing given that they basically only had one seat. I also have stuff to say about that, but I'll get to that later. Ferrari P4, honestly really disappointing. Like, I really did expect Ferrari to be better this year. I thought that I thought Leclerc was going to win the title this year, but you know they did Ferrari things. Williams impressive P5, Racing Bulls P6, Aston Martin P7, Haas P8, Kick Sauber P9, and Alpine P10. This is also the last year for a while. For the foreseeable future, that's only going to have 10 teams, with Cadillac coming in next year, which I am so excited for.
Hell yeah, America, brother! Woo!
I've always been a big GM guy.
I'm just wondering how like the Ford is going to do with Red Bull versus Cadillac. I mean, I imagine the Red Bull team and Ford will have to do way better, but I want to see where Cadillac is next year.
That's gonna be that's gonna be great. I really do think that GM and Ford need to compete in as many different motorsports brands around the world as possible, yes. And them competing in F1 is just a dream.
I swear to God, if Ford does normal Ford things in the back of that Red Bull and they are just dog shit next year, I'm gonna need mental help because I will be so pissed and crashing out constantly.
What if it's looking like Cadillac is doing better than Red Bull next year? I mean, that would be just something that's mind blowing, but you never know.
I would be going full blown American. Insufferable, like in every comment section I could find.
Listen, I want to see I want to see Cadillac do well because I want to see Checo do well. Red Bull did my boy dirty. He was always one of my favorite drivers, and I'm pissed that they made him look like an idiot.
Well, it ended up screwing themselves over too. It just made everything worse for them.
That is true.
Like you cannot convince me that Checo would have done worse this year than either of the people they put in that seat.
He was still able to get into the points semi-regularly, at least. I remember.
And you can't convince me that he wouldn't have come close to winning it in Azerbaijan like he does every year.
I think they would have probably got P2 in the constructors if they kept Perez.
Yes. Okay, on to the next segment, the best and worst races of the season. Who wants to go first with your personal favorite race of the year?
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mayhees goes first. Let the guests go first.
All right. Well, as for me, I'm pretty much always a big fan of Interlagos, and it did not disappoint this year either with Max's drive all the way from right at the back of the grid to finish P3, almost P2. He almost got Antonelli, who had probably his most impressive drive of the season at Brazil. So sometimes Antonelli, he just shows up, and then it's like, where did all this speed come from? So that was really good, his drive that year. And I got to say that I think the worst race of the season, and it's also one of my favorite tracks. I love driving it on any game, but Suzuka just didn't deliver a good race this year. I don't think, was there a single pass for position the entire race?
Like, the closest I think any pass came to happening was Norris trying to throw his car onto the grass coming out of the pits.
That's an expensive lawnmower. Shout out VB.
That was like the only memorable moment of that race for me. It was just like Norris saying, "Fuck it, I gotta try and get by him somehow."
I remember it gave me a little bit of hope because Max won that race, and so I'm like, maybe he'll be able to make something of this season. You know, he did in the end and almost won the championship, but I remember Max winning that race, and I remember that Norris moment, and that's really about it for that race.
Yeah, I also remember that McLaren was like a million times faster than Red Bull, and if that track was even, if anybody could have, if it was even remotely possible to pass, they would have gotten by him. Like that race could have only happened there at that point.
Oh man.
Hey, John, what's your favorite race of this season?
My favorite race of this season is the great.
Oh wait, I meant to say
the
least.
British Grand Prix. Least favorite, Monaco. I mean, we can all agree on Monaco, right?
Like yeah, like Monaco was my least favorite race of the season because that two-stop shit was just dumb.
Was awful.
That backfired hard.
Like
Monaco. At Monaco, the race really is the qualifying. So the qualifying is a good show. I'll give it that. You know, it does get pretty intense. But the race is basically just, oh, yeah, everyone's pretty much just going to finish there unless, you know, they do what happened to Leclerc a couple years back and just completely mess up on the pit stop.
Here's the thing. If Charles had won that race and, like, had gotten the pole and beaten Norris, Monaco wouldn't be my least favorite race of the season. Because, you know, at least you would have had, the home winner. It was the reason it wasn't my least favorite race last year. But Norris, like, I'm not gonna, like, the shit show of the race got made even worse by the fact that it just kind of felt like it was that point of the year where McLaren was completely untouchable. And Leclerc set this amazing lap in qualifying, only for Norris to set a lap that was only a couple tenths faster in a much faster car, and it just kind of pissed me off.
That is the most valid reasoning I've ever heard in my life.
Like I was objectively more bored during the Japanese race because, again, watching the cars like drive around at like 2/3 of their fucking pace to back everybody up was hilarious. Like, it was hilarious.
Yeah,
but
it is like the first thing that popped in my mind was like when Jeremy Clarkson's on that scooter in Top Gear. And he's like, "Oh wow, beautiful drive. There's like no traffic out here this morning because they're all behind him." Like, I was sitting there. I was just sitting there like fucking dumbfounded. I was like, "What am I watching right now?" This is horrible.
It might be the worst race I've seen as an F1 fan. And I say race, I think we can all agree that whatever the hell happened in Belgium in 2021 was not a race. That was a fucking parade.
George Russell podium, though.
Probably the only redeeming thing that happened that day.
Yeah. Max won, too. That's fine. My favorite race of the year was the British Grand Prix.
I agree.
And I mean, I was on freaking pins and needles, and I'll never forget they pit Hulkenberg for that last time, and I was losing my shit. I was like, just fucking keep him out there. Like, kind of the same thing at the end of Brazil when Max was still out and they pit him, and I was like, I don't think I agree with that. Like, worst he can end up is like second, but it ended up working out fine, I guess. But they pit him, and I was like, oh my god, like, he's gonna get screwed somehow. And he just drove so well. And I haven't been watching for very long, but Nico Hulkenberg podium is peak cinema. And
given that I've been watching since 2014, seeing him there were about the first 3-4 years of his career I haven't seen, but I've seen the vast majority of his career at this point. 11 years on, to finally see him get on the podium is a wonderful moment. And let's not forget, that was also a fantastic race even without that. The rain caused chaos. Kimi drove into the back of somebody. It was
so much. Oscar slamming on the brakes and Max spinning out on a safety car restart.
The dumbest penalty in human history.
Yeah, that too. If Max finished better, it might have been my favorite race of the season. But just with what happened to Max, it dropped it a little bit for me being a fan.
Yeah, the one thing that did piss me off about that race, I hate that stupid penalty. That shit was bullshit. Oscar did not deserve a penalty. I've seen drivers do that year after year after year. The only reason there was a penalty was because Max spun out and because it was raining.
Yo.
And F1 and
I think it's kind of in that situation, like looking at the optics like that, like if it was dry, clear visibility, probably fine, but in the wet, the visibility wasn't great even when they were just behind the safety car. But
again, they probably led to the dumbest accident of the year when Antonelli just drove right into the back of Hajar.
Was it?
I can't put that all on him, though. I mean, the conditions were so bad.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Was it 2 years ago? It was kind of similar. It was really, I think it was 2 years ago at Silverstone again. It was really rainy, under safety car, and they all checked up like really bad, and that it caused a big issue. I think that was 2 years ago.
Might have been 2020, like the last race with rain added at Silverstone I remember before this year was last year.
It might have been last year then. Brain's not 100% working, but I mean, same kind of deal. Like under safety, it's hard to see with how much spray those cars kick up, and every time they show the driver cam, I'm like, man, like as much as I would love to be a race car driver, I would be shitting myself right now if I was driving one of these things in the rain because you can't see anything.
I really hope they get the spray under fucking control for next year. Like I want to see some good old fashioned rain racing. Like it's so annoying every time there's a little bit of rain on the track. The red flag, you're gonna sit in the pits for an hour and wait for it to get back to dry conditions.
Yep. And rain racing is one of the things that makes this series so good. I mean, a lot of the best races that fans love were rain races. So it's like we need more of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing that F1 and endurance racing have always had that I love is changeable conditions. Like every series to me has its own strengths and weaknesses. F1 endurance have the fact that conditions can change has always been one of their strong suits. It's kind of like why NASCAR to me has always been so great because of their oval racing. Like it would be like if you put every NASCAR race on a road course, the series wouldn't feel right anymore.
Yeah, get rid of all the damn road courses, NASCAR.
I don't dislike the I don't dislike like the selection of road courses in NASCAR is great.
It's really good. I'm just being an asshole. I was just kidding.
In the Gen 6 era, in the Gen 6 era, I was one of the ones screaming the loudest, we need more road courses, we need more road courses. Unfortunately, the next gen car. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this car can't drive on them.
Not to turn this into a NASCAR podcast for 5 minutes, but the Gen 6 car was so much fun. Short tracks, road courses, they were incredible because the car actually moved around and did all the fun stuff that made NASCAR cool.
Unfortunately, the intermediates were awful.
Yeah, that is the one downside. But the next gen car fucking sucks at all the good stuff, but the intermediate makes up for it, so it's fine. Like, that's all I've got to say. I'm done.
Again, so sorry to distract from F1 and to turn this onto NASCAR for a second, but again, if you could do it to where you have the Gen 6 for the road courses and short tracks and the fucking next gen for intermediates, you'd have the perfect season.
You would literally have the perfect... Well, and Gen 6 for super speedways too, because the Gen 7 is not very good at super speedways.
I haven't watched a super speedway race in years.
It's neither here nor there. Also, Carson Hocevar got screwed at Bristol. All right, back to it. So, next up...
Next up is our 5 best and I'm not sure if I actually mentioned my best and worst race. Like I agreed with John. Actually, both of them. The British GP was the best race. Monaco was the worst. The 5 best and worst drivers.
I feel very validated right now. Can I throw Las Vegas in there too, being completely biased because both McLarens being disqualified was fucking hilarious.
I felt like it was one of the worst races of the year. It would definitely deserve a mention until I woke up the next morning and then saw the headlines they'd been disqualified, and then it became one of my favorites.
So the crazy thing is, I almost put this in Discord the night before or after the race. I don't know why I said the night before. The night after the race, like as soon as it ended, when Lando was going so slow across the finish line, and I was like, I think he's gonna get disqualified. I didn't even think about
had that feeling too.
He was really nowhere. But I was really concerned that he was not gonna have enough fuel for the sample and he was gonna get disqualified. Didn't even think about the plank wear thing with how much they were sparking. Like even at low, I feel like even coming to the line under not much power, he was just, that car was sparking like a motherfucker.
So my story of around all that was hilarious. The night of that race, I was talking with my friend Leslie about that race, and she was just like, she is the biggest Lando Norris hater known to man. And even though Max won, I was basically like trying to cool her down. I'm like, listen, Lando's still gonna win the championship. Like he needs to score like 2 points next week and it's over. And she's like, don't worry, it's not over yet. And I'm like, okay. I go to bed. I wake up the next day. She's just like screaming at me, he got disqualified.
That's awesome. Also, honorable mention to Australia. I forgot how much of a banger Australia was.
Oh yeah, no, that
was a good one.
Mainly because it's nearly been a year ago at this point. But yeah, that was a fantastic race.
Yeah, rain, chaos, all that, all the good stuff you could ask for. Yeah, can't complain.
I'm just like trying to look. Like, obviously, I quite enjoyed Singapore and Canada, but that's because my boy won. But I don't think either of those races were particularly that interesting. Like, Canada was decent, from what I remember, but Bahrain was also a pretty good race, from what I remember.
I remember that as the race that Alpine actually scored some points. One of the very few.
That was the race that Jack Doohan should have scored points, but Alpine screwed up the strategy, and then they decided to boot him the next week. Okay, we're going to move on to the 5 best and worst drivers.
Alrighty.
Perfect segue.
Talking about Alpine.
You know what? I'm going to start with the worst drivers because I want to get right into what I was complaining about. So my worst driver, and it's 2 drivers, but like it mostly falls on the hands of one driver here. I think the worst driver this year was Franco Colapinto. I'm also going to list Jack Doohan next to him, but Jack Doohan had about 5 rounds. I think he was showing decent promise, and then they threw him out because they wanted some South American money. Flavio Briatore sucks.
I agree with that. Like, I feel like, I mean, again, granted, very, very small sample size, but I feel like Jack Doohan was improving, and they were just like, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
It didn't help that in his first practice session, Colapinto threw the fucking car in the wall, and I was just immediately like, oh my god, here we fucking go. Great job, Flavio.
Welcome
it's last year all over again.
Yeah. Oh, man. We are so back.
Like, you know, Franco, admittedly, he did have some really good drives near the end of 2024. But he was such an accident-prone driver where I'm just like, you're really going to throw this kid out of his seat for him? Really?
The first thing that pops in my mind every time I think about Franco Colapinto is the Brazil crash where he destroyed the car in 2024. And I was like, really? You want that fucking guy in your car again?
I'm pretty sure he did that twice in the same weekend.
Yeah, I mean, just...
Well, we need our guaranteed safety cars somehow. So I guess that's what they were thinking.
Look, no more Nicholas Latifi, no more... I don't even know if I can say the other name. That other guy that drove at Haas.
Mazepin.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can say that without us getting canceled. So,
everybody hates him. Nobody's gonna cancel us for calling him Mazepin.
y'all, did you guys ever? I wonder if it's still a website. There used to be a website that said how long it was literally a website dedicated to how long it's been since Nikita Mazepin spun.
So yeah, Jack Doohan to me, obviously this other driver had a much larger sample size, but to me he has a very similar career trajectory to Mick Schumacher. Just when it seems like they're finally putting it together, get the hell out of here.
I remember he had a couple of bad moments, like Suzuka turn one. Didn't exactly go too well.
It was a practice crash. He tried way too hard and he threw it in the wall. It happens. His wreck in Australia was he wasn't the most embarrassing rookie moment in that race, and the other rookie went on to win my Rookie of the Year. So,
and we'll agree with that because he's my Rookie of the Year too.
I think that's like universal. Like, I think everybody has to agree Hadjar was the most impressive rookie this year.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can't argue that. Well, you probably can't argue it, but
like a lot of people argue that Behrman was, and while I can, understand Behrman did overperform from the expectations of being in the Haas, he didn't exactly keep his nose clean a lot of weeks. He racked up a lot of penalty points and all that. And what impressed me about Hadjar is that he didn't. He kept his nose clean most weeks. And that, to me, along with the speed he showed in that Racing Bull, is why he's my Rookie of the Year.
It's so crazy how fast it turned around for him, too, because, literally first formation lap of the season and just bins it.
Yeah. I do have to say, this was a very impressive rookie class. Hadjar was fantastic. Behrman exceeded my expectations. Bortoleto exceeded my expectations. Kimi honestly did about how I expected. Yeah. And Lawson was technically a rookie. He was fine, I guess. I don't know.
Better towards the end of the season. You could tell he definitely lost some confidence after getting kicked out of his ride.
Yeah.
Hot take. There is going to be 2 or 3 world champions out of this rookie group. I don't know if it's that hot of a take, but I think it's a hot take.
I could see that there easily being 2 or 3 world champions out of this. My second, back to the worst driver rankings. My second worst driver ranking is again a collection of drivers instead of just one. It's the Red Bull second seat, which is 2 races of Liam Lawson and then the rest of the season Yuki Tsunoda. And the reason I say the Red Bull second seat, not the drivers individually, is because I don't think this was their fault in the slightest. And the fact that Yuki got kicked out of the sport is a travesty of justice.
Yeah, I agree.
Lindblad's probably going to be good, but Yuki did not deserve to get kicked out. And I hope when Stroll inevitably gets fired because Lawrence is selling off shares, that he gets a ride at Aston Martin. Anyways, you can continue.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought you were going down more of your list.
No, you were about to say something, so you can continue.
Oh yeah. So, it does make them wish probably they kept Perez because, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Perez was at least, getting into the points regularly. I don't know how many races Yuki got into the points, but more often than not, he was back there with the Alpines. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know how a team is so poorly run that one car can be competing for race wins and the other one is out in the middle of nowhere. When it has drivers in there, which have shown in the past, they can compete. Yuki isn't a slouch. Perez, not a slouch. He's actually, to me, one of the best drivers of the 2010s. Pierre Gasly's been shown to be an excellent driver. Alex Albon's been shown to be an excellent driver. I do not understand how this team continues to fail given their second seat continues to fail given the glut of talent they have.
Anyone who can score points in that Alpine has to at least be around middle of the pack as far as driver quality or upper middle pack. I mean, Yeah, the Alpine was pretty bad.
And that Red Bull car isn't bad. Like, it competed for a championship. I know a lot of that does come down to Max's talent, but we've seen what Max can do in a car that's not like championship caliber before. He didn't come within 2 points of the championship. So I don't know. Third worst driver for me is Lance Stroll. He didn't do anything terrible, but like he's not great.
He existed.
He existed.
That's enough.
He has below average talent level. He got destroyed by his teammate in qualifying. Not so much in the standings, but yeah, not great.
Did Fernando whitewash him in qualifying?
Yeah,
is that correct?
Every race.
complete whitewash.
I think Stroll actually qualified better in a sprint or something, but yeah, pretty much.
That don't count.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you which one. Yeah, it's like whatever. But I will say though, Stroll in the rain is definitely not bottom 3. I will say that much.
Which is why I think he needs to go endurance racing. But that's
yeah.
Yeah.
If
I was rich, I'd race an F1 if I was rich too. Well, rich and in shape, I guess. I'd do it too. But
okay.
My neck would make it.
My fourth worst driver of the season, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, it was
stealing all the thunder.
He wasn't great. He really wasn't. He had that sprint win and everybody thought Lewis is back, and then he kind of regressed into what we've seen seen of him in 2024, where he's just not quite the same guy anymore. Like, he got beat pretty bad. If you look at the 2024 standings, he was not a mile off of George, but that also takes into account the fact that George had an engine failure in the UK while he was on the podium.
Disqualified.
He got disqualified from a victory. He also had that stupid incident in Australia, which I don't think is 100% his fault, because I definitely do think Alonso got on the brakes way earlier than normal, and that threw him off.
I still think that shouldn't have been a penalty for Alonso.
It probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but I don't think that's one of those crashes that you say is 100% on the driver. That there was some bullshit going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hamilton, like, the last 2 years have been kind of sharp decline. Like, he looked like he was back in 2023, and then it just hasn't been great the last 2 years. Yeah, like, what else is there you can say about him?
I think it's also just, this car, these regulations, they just don't suit his late braking kind of driving style. It's all about confidence with, how, these drivers are all at an extremely high level, but it's all about confidence when it comes to, that little bit extra. And I just don't feel like he's very confident in these cars, and that's why he's down here at the bottom when, just a handful of years ago, he would have been first or second in our driver rankings.
So here's the thing, though. I don't think Lewis Hamilton has been prime Lewis Hamilton since, like, 2018. Like, he was he obviously won in 2019 and 2020. But that was more down to the fact that Ferrari was kind of just nowhere. He could beat up Bottas because he wasn't great. 2021, I think if he'd still been at that 2018 level, he probably would have won that championship. But I'm going to be honest, he was honestly kind of lucky to even get as close to it as he did. And just since the ground effect era, like, he matched Russell in 2022. He matched Russell kind of in 2025, not 4. Russell had a bad season in 2023, which I think kind of masked the fact that he still wasn't amazing. It hasn't been a great few years for Lewis, and it's been kind of the slow, depressing decline of a legend. Which I am very familiar with because I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan.
Brutal for both of us. It was rough.
Oh man, that just brought back bad memories.
What, the slow, brutal decline of a legend?
Yeah, I came back. Well, so quick sidebar to NASCAR again, but I didn't watch NASCAR for a long time. Jimmy Johnson was really, really good when I quit watching, and he was my favorite driver. And then I came back, and he was just a shell of his former self. And the thing that sticks out to me the most is that stage one wreck at Darlington,
Yeah,
just
no,
last year,
that
where he just
still lives
fucking
in my
gifted.
memory.
Like he would have won the stage at least, but may have won the race. But I'm like, man, like, it sucked to watch.
So my dad was a fan of his, dating back to when he first got into the sport. Apparently, he first heard of him when he threw his car into the wall at Watkins Glen, and climbed up on the car like, I'm alive. Like I was always a fan of him, even when it wasn't a very popular thing in the late 2010s, because my God, everybody fucking hated him. But yeah, it was hard to watch. It was like watching. It was like watching Superman get shot in the back of the head.
And then pushed down the stairs for good measure.
Okay, and moving on to my final, my fifth worst driver of the year.
So your bottom four were the exact same as mine. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
So I want to see if your fifth is the same as mine.
It probably won't be, because my fifth one's kind of a hot take. It's Kimi. I'm not saying he was awful. I'm saying in comparison to his teammate, he definitely underperformed quite substantially. Like, if I'm going to give Hamilton shit for being 100 points behind Leclerc, Kimi was 150 points behind Russell. He was not great for the vast majority of the season. He had his highlights. That sprint pole he had in Miami, fantastic. His podium in Canada, well, he still got beat by his teammate. His podium at Brazil near the end of the year, great. He definitely outperformed Russell quite a bit near the end of the season. If we're looking at this season as a whole, it's a start. There's stuff to build off of, but this was not a good year by any means.
I agree, and the crazy thing is, I thought I was going to be the controversial one here that you guys would argue with for putting Kimi in my bottom five, but you did.
We had the exact same bottom five.
Exact same list,
What
which is crazy. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's the one who's.
I think you're both fucking wrong. So,
well, I'm just going to say, that summer stretch was pretty unforgivable for Kimi. I mean, it was awful. He wrecked Leclerc twice, Verstappen once.
And, like, Russell was getting on the podium during those races. So, he was
way off Russell. And so, as a rookie, you can kind of get away with, being a little slower than your teammates. And you can kind of get away with, maybe taking out some drivers by accident and all that, causing some incidents. When you're both slower than your teammate and you take out some drivers, that's going to lead to people asking questions. And, the highlights were there, like I was talking about earlier. Brazil, great race for Kimi, but there are some concerns moving forward. And maybe next year, it'll be a great year, and this will all be a distant memory of just, a little bit of a rough rookie season, but maybe not. But I do have some concerns for Kimi heading into next year.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the thing about Kimi this year that sealed the deal on him ending up on this list, after Monza, he was behind Alex Albon in the standings. He obviously had a great final. Not really great, but he had a very good, solid final stretch of the season. But he should not have been fighting with Alex Albon after round whatever the hell in Monza.
Well, Albon was just so consistently good early in the season compared to, Kimi being very up and down early in the season and then pretty much all down in the middle of the season. So he'd probably be a couple spots lower if he didn't really show some promise towards the end of the season, probably like the third lowest for me. But, there were those highlights that bring him out of like the bottom three, but still keep him in the bottom five.
So, John, you have a different bottom five than us, so let's hear it.
I mean, everybody got mentioned. It's Lance Stroll. I put Liam Lawson in there just because, again, small sample size in the Red Bull, but it wasn't looking good. And then he kind of, wasn't very good in the V car for a while afterwards. I know Mayhe's talked about like kind of getting out of the mental funk of being demoted, but I don't really remember seeing anything that was really that impressive from him. And then obviously Colapinto, Yuki, and Lewis all in my bottom five.
Okay. So now
I feel like on his best weeks, though, Lawson was up there with Hajar, and then on his worst weeks, he was just nowhere near.
Yeah.
There weren't as many peaks.
Okay. And technically Lawson was on my list, but he was wrapped into that Red Bull second seat thing.
I was everybody I had on my list got mentioned. It's okay.
Okay.
It just makes, again, more validation minus the me thing.
Okay, so now we're going to do the top 5 best, and we're going to go backwards. So we're going to go from 5 to 1. I'm going to give an honorable mention, though, somebody who just missed my list, Alex Albon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Albon for me was like 7th or so, but he's not
actually
too far off.
wait a minute. Something I think I meant to put somebody else on the list, but for some reason Albon's both my honorable mention and my number 4. I don't know what happened there. Because he sure as hell shouldn't be my 4. I don't remember who the hell I was supposed to give that to. Give me a second. I need to check the app real quick.
That's all right. But for me, Albon would be like 7th or 8th, right around there. So
He's very clearly my 6th.
Now, if he kept his form for the first half of the season, he might have been top 5. But that rough second half drops him a few spots at least.
Yeah, okay. I figured out who the hell I was supposed to be there. And actually, I'm thinking about this now. I'm going to drop them down to 5. So, my number 5 is Pierre Gasly. I know he was quite low in the standings, only P18, but he scored every single point that team had, and he was really the only person on that entire Alpine team who showed up this year. He did his best.
Gold star for Pierre Gasly. You tried.
He deserved that number 5 to me. Like, that man was trying. He carried that team on his back. He was the only one standing between them and a pointless season.
We did talk about it earlier, where if you're going to score points in that Alpine, you're an upper tier midfield driver. So I definitely have no argument.
He also dragged that thing into Q3 like 11 times. So, like, very good year from him.
I didn't have him top 5, so we're going to have a different top list. But, he definitely was in like right around to me 10th or something like that, 9th, 10th. He had an excellent season with what he had to work with. I'll say that much because I don't know. I just probably would have wanted to quit driving that car.
Okay. Yes. Also, I guess I'm also going to give an honorable mention to Lando Norris because I realize I left him off this. Listen, he had a great season. I already went over this. Though, to me, I still wasn't completely... I think there were 5 guys I found more impressive than him this year. So, who wants to give us their number 5?
Okay, I can start by giving my number 5. So, as I mentioned, we're going to have a little bit of a different list that appears compared to, the worst drivers. My number 5 was actually, and keep in mind, I ranked them kind of based on where their expectations were versus how they performed in the end. And I got to say, I really didn't expect much from Isaac Hadjar this year. But just getting consistent points in that Red Bull racing car and just being up there a lot more than I expected. I put Isaac Hadjar in my top 5 just by being a consistent point scorer all year and being my rookie of the year.
And what about you, John?
I'm going to get a lot of flack for my picks, but it's fine. Because I have Ollie Behrman at 5, and the reason is a lot of it is recency bias. My God, recency bias. Yeah, because my brain is tiny and I can't remember the beginning of the season. But I think the way that Ollie and some of the other people on my list ended their season, just shows how much they grew throughout the year, and I think it gives them really good momentum going into next year. I know it's going to be completely different regulations and all that stuff, but I think if you can head into the off season and next season on the right foot with how your form has been, I think that's a big plus. And plus, I mean, like, first thing that popped in my mind was how many times I saw Ollie Behrman like running 4th, and I was like, yeah, this dude's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
like, I think I put more of drivers that impressed me more than the 5 best drivers, but
no,
they're the best because they impressed me. So
yeah, I kind of did the same with Hadjar. Nobody expected that podium as well. And it was not. I mean, Sonoda didn't get a podium for after years of being in that car, and then Hadjar turns up and he gets a podium, and it just really impressed me.
He didn't make my list, Behrman, though. I don't he's probably around like 8 or 9. Like,
agreed.
Like if I'm gonna rank 7, 8, 9, it's probably Albon, Norris, Behrman. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my number 4. It is Hadjar. I think that he was incredibly impressive this year. I went into the season thinking, oh, it's another Red Bull Junior. They'll probably be out of the sport within they'll either be on a different team or out of the sport within 4 years, so why the hell should I care? And this fucking French bastard just showed up and kicked ass.
For real. I really hope his career doesn't go to shit next year is all I'm going to say with being in that car.
Listen, I hope that new leadership leads to Red Bull not completely leaving its second driver to drown, but I don't know. I'm afraid for him.
Well, he's got a Ford engine, so he might spend more time in the garage than out on the track, but we'll see how good their power unit is.
It's coming.
I'm pretty sure though Ford's only doing the electrical systems. I'm pretty sure Red Bull is building the actual combustion engine themselves.
Yeah, I heard Red Bull had it a good ways done, and then Ford kind of jumped in to provide expertise and manufacture parts for it. So it is kind of just a collaboration.
What the hell does Ford know about engine expertise? Anyways,
they made one electric Mustang, and they were like, "We're the best." So
okay,
that goes.
Okay,
and the Ford Lightning, I guess, but.
Okay, what do you two? One of you can go first.
We'll just keep the same order. Mayhees can go.
Mayhees, who's your P4?
For number 4, again, where the expectations were, this driver exceeded them for me. I would have to say Piastri, actually. And a lot of people with more recency bias, they may actually rank Piastri a little bit lower in this, not put him in the top 5. Nobody expected Piastri to be leading the points at all this year. That was supposed to be Lando Norris's job. I mean, okay, well, maybe you did. But the general consensus is that most people expected Norris to kind of run away with this championship a little more this year, or maybe if the Ferraris weren't up there, which they weren't. But Piastri, he impressed me so much early in the season. We just assumed that he was just going to keep running away with it. And with how good he did in the beginning, I feel like he needs to be in the top 4 for me.
I see it. I think Piastri finished 10th on if I were to do a full ranking, but I think I'm just more pissed at the fact that he kind of forgot how to drive at the one moment that it mattered. I think the reason why he fell so far in my rankings really does just come down to the fact that I'm pissed because he let fucking Broccoli Hair Man win.
You had it, and then you just lost it, man.
Really, after the Dutch GP, there was no excuse. That title should have been his. he got a grand slam. He was rolling, and then he just fell off.
All he needed were just consistent podiums after that point, and he would have easily locked it up. But, falling off at the end, it was definitely tough for any of his fans. I'll say that for sure. But I feel like with his performances, how good they were earlier in the season, when the expectations were just him to kind of be Norris's wingman, I feel like, that at least deserves mention here.
And what about you, John?
Hot take in the other direction. I am gonna go with Kimmy. I think Kimmy showed, and I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
No consistency.
But again, well, the improvement to the end of the season and some of the things I saw at the end of the season. What race was it? Where he ran super long on the hard tires and ended up with a really good result. But Vegas, Brazil was a really good defensive drive. Like I think it was just I know the middle of the season was really bad, but the improvements towards the end of the season, again, I think he's starting to get his footing. Big pressure. I mean, big time pressure. Other than going to Ferrari or Red Bull, obviously, like the most pressure you can have, just 18-year-old kid, basically straight out of the womb and into a Mercedes. Impressed the hell out of me at the end of the season. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Austria or any of that shit, but yeah, I think Kimi really impressed the hell out of me down the stretch. And
I'll say this for somebody who was finishing up high
drivers
school, he was impressive.
Your prototypical best drivers, okay?
I'll give you that. I didn't expect Antonelli in the top 5.
Yeah,
we have it on the bottom 5, and then you have it on the top 5. So I didn't expect that, but he did have some.
That's just how I roll.
Again, tail end of the season, he definitely did start to turn it up.
Miami as well.
And again, for somebody finishing high school, who was finishing high school at the start of the season, it's not the worst season of all time, but Max did it better.
That is true. Max didn't even finish high school, let's be honest. He just dropped out and said, fuck it, I'm going to race cars.
I know what I want to do with my life. I wish I had that direction at that age.
Okay, my number 3 is Charles Leclerc. Ferrari wasn't great, but Charles had a very strong season. Whipped the crap out of a fucking 7-time champion. It wasn't flashy. He failed to win a race because, let's be honest, he probably should have won in Hungary, but Ferrari fucked up. Probably should have won at Monaco, but Lando just had a little bit better of a car. This is just Leclerc's life, isn't it? Nobody suffers more than that, man.
Worse, taken out twice by Antonelli. I mean, just the worst luck.
When he wasn't suffering, though, it's pretty much the same Leclerc we've always been used to. Strong qualifying, pretty good race pace, solid.
His only real bad race where he didn't perform very well was in Silverstone in the rain. But other than that, he was always outperforming that Ferrari.
Yep. What about you? Whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Mays.
For me, I have the one and only champion of the season, Lando Norris. Look, the champion, I feel like you got to place the champion in at least the top 3, right? He didn't have, like we discussed earlier, he didn't really have the slumps that Max and Piastri had. He stayed consistent throughout the season. Yeah, some of the results were a little underwhelming, especially in the beginning, but because of, the full season points format, the races he had, like Mexico and Brazil, they mattered. When Max was charging at the end, those races were what kept him over the line. So I feel like Norris, he did what he had to do this season. He is a deserving champion, and just by keeping consistent like that. So Norris at number 3 for me.
But here's the thing. If F1 had the playoffs, Max would have been the champion.
Oh, yeah, Yeah, and like last year, I believe
Nor
Leclerc would have been the champion actually.
it wouldn't have been Norris. Whatever.
It wouldn't have been Norris, despite Norris winning the final race because I think he had like a bad guitar, and that would have
Oh yeah.
eliminated him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He got penalized for like doing something dumb on the straight.
yep.
Okay.
It would have been Charles Leclerc last season, and
Which is
I
wild.
was
He had
surprised to
3
hear
fucking
that
wins.
I know. It's just like how would Leclerc have won the championship? But he would have. So coming out of nowhere.
But yeah, I can't argue Norris being 3 because yes, he's the champion. Not the highest highs. Like again, that race in Mexico was probably like his highest high on the year. They didn't have the consistent high highs of Verstappen or Piastri, but he didn't have the low lows of Verstappen or Piastri. So yeah, I can't argue that. John, you're P3.
I'm gonna go with the rookie, another rookie, because of course, but it's the rookie, the consummate rookie, Fernando Alonso. Hear me out. Again, crazy. I know, not great. It's fine. Only finished lower than. Or he finished 15th twice. He only finished lower than 15th once when he didn't DNF in a not great car, and he DNF'd freaking 5 times because it sucked. So, Nando, always fantastic. Interested to see what they do next year. Honda coming over. Adrian Newey's in charge, so take that for what it's worth. I don't. He's good at designing cars. Is he good at running a team? I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
I'm just saying, please let them be good.
Yeah, I think I will get. I have a crazy prediction for next year, but I will wait till the prediction thing.
I swear to God, if those Honda engines are bad, Fernando might just rage quit halfway through the season.
Yeah, I could see that.
Not again.
GP2 engine, GP. Oh God, the McLaren Honda days are just. It feels like a lifetime ago, but my God, Fernando was the one guy who got screwed out of that situation. But yeah, no, I can't argue Fernando being up that high. Like he's probably like I just didn't pay attention to him very often because he was just kind of there.
Yeah, he just did his own thing. I mean, there was a lot of races where he would just kind of back the pack up.
He probably got
tires, and then he would just take off and he'd be like 15 seconds ahead of whoever was behind him and leave them all to fight over themselves. But that's pretty tough to do, to keep people behind you and stuff. I know it's not easy to pass in these cars. It's not easy to follow, which really leads to the making it difficult to pass. But having the mental fortitude, I guess, wherewithal, whatever word you want to use, to just play the game like that and then to just drive away, that's pretty impressive to me. And if he was on a top flight. No, I think you're, again, same kind of track. If he was in a top flight car, like, good luck.
He's a great strategic driver who deserves a better car.
He probably got everything out of that car this year that he could have. So, again, strong year.
I just hope he gets a better car for next year so he can get kind of the send-off he deserves.
Isn't it wild that, like, the 20 that he actually had a podium capable car a couple of years ago? That doesn't feel real.
And it's all been downhill since then.
Oh man, I remember watching Baku. Sometimes I'll just go back and watch the highlights of Baku from 2023, and I'll just cheer when I see him passing like Hamilton. I'm like, yes, what happened?
If it hadn't been for horrible strategy, he would have won at Monaco that year. And that would have been one of the great moments of the decade.
That would have been incredible.
Unfortunately, Max is just good, so... Yes. Okay, I'm going to move on to my second best driver, who is my favorite driver, George Russell. Yeah, he was always going to end up here for me. I think he had the speed, he had the consistency, he had the high highs. He was just fantastic this year. I think in a year, I think if Mercedes had been just a couple tenths faster, he might have even been able to fight for the title this year. But best of the non-McLarens or aliens is nice.
Yeah.
Those 2 wins were also just fantastic. Canada felt especially great because of how fucking much of a mess the 2024 race was for him. So, yeah, it was a good year.
You'll get no argument from me because Russell is also at my number 2. So, I mean, he's got 2 wins. So, in a car that really shouldn't have been winning, that, you know, his teammate struggled a lot, although, like I said, there were some highlights. So Russell just did really well this season. He was always there, kind of, you know, 3rd or 4th somewhere. Never really fast enough to get up there to the lead except for those 2 races. But, you know, always getting the most out of the car that he possibly could. He definitely deserves the silver medal for me this year.
Yeah, probably the closest he came to winning a race that he actually didn't was Vegas. Like, he had the speed to win that race. It's just he got stuck behind Verstappen and chewed his tires up, and it really wasn't on from there. So John, you are the let's hear your number 2, because me and Mahi agree.
My number 2 is going to give away number 1, and I'm assuming we all have the same number 1. So Lando's number 2. I just locked it down really well at the end of the season, other than, you know, the whole Vegas debacle. And I mean, season, obviously he's a champ. Mayhew said it best: you can't have the champ outside of the top 3. I have him at 2. He clutched up in the last race when he needed to, because he could have done, you know, to the dismay of Verstappen fans, he could have done some dumb shit, didn't do any dumb shit, and, you know, just performed when he needed to.
Yuki could have thrown him into the gravel and he could have died. No.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the die part. Cut that.
Okay, I'm just gonna make it very clear. I don't want Lando to die. I don't hate him.
Yuki could have done something other than just tried to run him into the fucking barrier like a dipshit. Not an F1 open lobby, but yeah.
Perez.
I was thinking he was just gonna brake really late, kind of hold the inside, brake really late, and then force Lando to go around the outside, and then, you know, because he'd be first at the apex, then just run Lando off. It's what I probably would have done, but instead, I don't even know what that was.
You know who else probably would have done that?
Not great.
You know who else probably would have done that? Sergio Perez.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There was that move. I mean, that move was gutsy from Lando to go off the track and make that pass. But I mean, there was another pass. It's where Verstappen passed Hamilton in 2021 to give everybody, you know, a shock factor, a PTSD. But I think it's turn 5. He made a couple of moves down there going into turn 5 on fresh tires that I was like, okay, he's earning it right now, like passing these cars on older tires. Like, if he had got stuck where there could have been some issues, but he made it happen when he needed to. So, I mean,
I'm surprised the Lando Norris hater here, though, isn't like, oh, I think you should have got like a 10-second stop and go for passing off the track.
Nah.
That was definitely, Yuki was definitely at fault. It would have been really funny if they'd given him a penalty, but it wouldn't have been fair.
Penalize both of them. They're both in the wrong.
Like, okay, if they'd given him a penalty, you know it would have been Abu Dhabi 2021 levels of fucking whining.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, it would have been
Stop and go.
awful. It would have been awful. I mean, we talked about it earlier. He's a deserving champ. I don't care what anybody on social media says. They're all a bunch of fucking doofuses. We've talked about it time and time again on this podcast alone. Lando was consistent, other than a couple of boneheaded mistakes. Well, one boneheaded mistake that was his own fault, which is Canada, that comes to mind, or possibly his fault. Might be. I haven't watched the clip in a while, so
I definitely do think it was his fault. I'll just
stand pat, but
I think it is pretty widely agreed that Canada was on Lando.
The failure at the Dutch Grand Prix, I mean, that's something completely out of his control. Yes, he messed up in qualifying, he messed up race starts and stuff, but he still just rallied and he used the best car on track to get the best result he could. And I mean, there's some people that couldn't do that out there. So, and a lot of them are in comment sections on Instagram, but that's besides the point.
I do have to say though, he did give me the single funniest moment of the season, which was his start at Las Vegas, where he he threw himself off the track for no reason.
Who said it? Was it Coulthard that said it? Playing a game that he's not equipped to play or something along those lines.
I don't even know why he did that. I'm sure Max would have thrown himself up the inside, but the line he would have taken if he hadn't dove to the inside like a lunatic probably would have kept him in the lead. So I don't know what the hell that was about.
I mean, you got it's all about it. It's kind of I'm gonna NASCARify it again because that's what I know. It's it's like having Dale Sr. in your mirrors. You just there's something about it. It just puts the fear of God in you. More or less. That's not what I wanted to say, but that's what came out. But I mean, there's something about certain people being behind you, and Max is one of those people that he's behind you, and you get a little uneasy and you make mistakes. And I just think it's funny watching the onboard clip from Verstappen's car, how early he backed out of that, and there goes Lando. It's like, oh man.
Speaking of Max,
Max is taking the number 3 next year.
So. Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Speaking of Max, he is probably all 3 of our number 1 driver this year.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
That if it wasn't obvious before that he's already a legend in this sport, he proved it this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people can say what they want to say about he had the best car, meh, meh, meh. Well, you put him in a shitbox, and guess what? He's still fighting a car that is multiple tenths to a second quicker a lap over a run in that car. I mean, he is one of the greatest. We're not gonna have the GOAT conversation because we'd be here all damn night, but
Again, he was one insanely stupid decision away from winning this championship. A championship he really didn't have any right competing for. So all you can really do is tip the cap. He drove probably one of the best seasons in the history of the sport.
The people's champ.
Yep. What impresses me the most about him is, when the car sucks, when everybody else is just like, we should just, other people would have just been like, we should just give up and take whatever finish we can get or retire the car. He finds a way to just put it where, the car doesn't really belong up front. Win the race somehow or get a podium or whatever it takes. He does whatever it takes to get the best finish where the car he overperforms where the car is always.
Yeah, he just don't give a fuck. Yes. You could put him in a literal cardboard box with wheels out there, and he'd still pedal it the best he could. I mean, there's just some people that are on a different level, and I don't care what anybody says if the people that watch this, because I'm sure a lot of them are going to agree, but there's just some people, and they are completely different. I mean, Anthony called him an alien earlier. I mean, it's just the complete truth. He is an alien. He is a certified badass, and I can't wait to see if he completes his full career, because he's 28 right now or something. He's still incredibly. I'm gonna do my research so I don't get yelled at.
He's already at 70 wins, so this guy is he might have a chance to take that wins record that Lewis had and set it at a place that nobody will ever get to.
Yeah, he's 28 years old. If he races for 10 more years, I mean, the potential is unlimited, and it's crazy. He is the ultimate driver. It doesn't matter what the weather is. It doesn't matter how the car is handling it. None of it matters, because he does not care. He is going to drive the car 100%. just super precise, super consistent, lap time finishes, whatever you want to talk about. It's incredible.
The only thing that will stop Max Verstappen from being undisputed greatest driver of all time is Max Verstappen.
Going to race a GT3 car.
If he says I want to win 15 championships and 200 races, he will do that. If he wants to retire next year and go drive GT3 cars, he will do that.
It probably all depends on where Red Bull's at next year too.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't retire because he's amazing, but
I mean he's pretty much already said like, if I'm not having fun, I'm out of here. I'll go do something fun, which is mind-boggling. But I understand. I get it. And it'll be one of the biggest what ifs ever if that were the case. But I don't see it being the case.
I just realized this was
especially if the rumors are true.
I just realized this was already his 11th season in Formula One. Like he started so damn young.
At 28 years old is, I mean, good God. It makes me feel like I'm underachieving, which I am underachieving in life. Let's be real, but you know,
we're all underachieving compared to Max.
Yeah, that's that's the dude. He is the dude until somebody does the things he can do on a week-to-week basis, which we may never see again.
I don't know who could ever be the next Max. Yeah, I don't know who could ever be the next Max. Doesn't come around. It's like generational, you know.
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's definitely not going to be another Max when you consider all the off-track stuff, all the interviews and all that. But
yeah, like it took a lot of child abuse to create Max Verstappen.
Shout out child abuse, man. Make some of the best athletes ever.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm not talking anymore. I'm done. Tell me when the predictions are. I'm just gonna go do something else.
Oh no, John's just got canceled. He's done.
I knew it was gonna happen someday. Today's the day. You know what's funny? That is twice I have talked about child abuse today, because me and my buddies were all talking about how we all grew up in a different era. I'm 26 or whatever, but I got my ass whooped when I was a kid, not an angel, but they just don't happen anymore. We're never going to see another great one because of child abuse, That probably should get cut out, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's staying in. That's the funniest thing that's been said today. Oh God. No, but seriously, you read some of the shit that Yas did to Max, and it's just like, oh God, that man is a piece of shit.
I mean, I never got left at a gas station, but like I had to change oil on a semi in like 10-degree weather. I get it. It sucks. It's not fun.
God, let's just hope that Max is a better father to his daughter than his father was to him.
I don't think it would be that hard to accomplish that. So. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on now to
welcome to the reboot F1 Roundtable, episode 1. Fuck Yas Verstappen for being a piece of shit dad, but thank you at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on now to the news section.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
It was really Max's passion that drove him, because he's always sim racing and pushing himself to do more and more and figuring out, how to get the best lap time, whatever it takes. Like I said, he's a whatever it takes guy, and sim racing and all that, and just racing is truly his passion. And so it just takes, living it. Ultimately, he is like racing.
Well, that and the child abuse.
That's all right. That's enough. What's next?
Okay, we're moving on to the news. There's only really 3 bits of news. And one of them is less news and more just I want to talk about the next year's regulations. So Max Verstappen is changing his number to 3. I'm going to be honest, I don't really like the fact that drivers can just change their number now whenever the hell they want. Like, I get he had to change back from one because he's not the champion anymore, but I feel like he should have had to change back to 33 because that's his. Like, I don't like the idea of having personal numbers if you can change them.
I can kind of get behind that, but at the same same time, like it's not a huge change. And I saw a funny post on social media about somebody being like, "Oh yeah, now I can wear my Danny Rick gear again. I don't even have to buy new Max Verstappen stuff." So it works. It honestly works. That like 33-3, especially with people that have Danny Rick stuff and all that. I don't think that's now if he had to change the only number other than 3, I think it would have been acceptable for him to change to is 69, just because that would have been hilarious.
People so badly wanted that.
I heard that he wanted to do that, but
I think he wanted to.
His dad said it was unprofessional and shut it down or something like that. I don't. It was
Not the child abuse again.
Or do you think the FIA is like the NBA and doesn't let you wear the number 69?
Both. Probably both. I'm surprised they let him win 69 races, honestly.
I should have retired on the spot, honestly.
They should have put a remote bomb in the engine just to blow his engine up so he didn't ever win. Oh, he looks like he's going to win. Press the button. No 69 for you. Don't take that out of context.
Okay, now, so I'm not fully, moving on to the next thing. I'm not fully sure what's actually going on with this. I'm sorry, man. I'm really struggling with your name.
Oh, Mayhees?
Mayhees. There we go. Mayhees. I know you know a little bit more about this. The Mercedes and Ford engine thing, where they're God, what is it?
It's the depression ratio.
The depression ratio.
Yeah.
So people were complaining about it, and the FIA said it's fine.
Oh yeah, what it is basically they can only measure it at ambient temperature. And so that's kind of more of a gray area, what is ambient temperature? So, and out on the racetrack, they're running it at a higher temperature, but they can only measure it at ambient. So basically, they have a higher compression ratio, Mercedes and the Red Bull power unit will. And that will, in theory, allow, it depends on the track, but maybe up to 3/10 a lap extra because of the speed.
Huh. Well, let's that probably says good things for Red Bull, because people thought that their engine was going to be terrible. I'm honestly not even sure where most of these, because I've heard for 2 years at this point people talk about how great the Mercedes at power unit's going to be. Do we even know why people think this, or is this just pure fucking speculation?
Well, Mercedes has a history of having fantastic power units. I mean, the turbo hybrid era was basically theirs for the longest time because of, how good their engines are. It took Honda a long time to really catch up to that. And because of, because Mercedes has such a long and good history with having good power units, people think they're going to have another good power unit. And also, nearly half the grid's powered by a Mercedes engine. So there's that, too.
Yeah, I can see that. And finally, we're just going to move on to next year's regulations. I've heard people complain about the fact that the cars are going to be slower, the active aero is going to be stupid, they're going to have to downshift on straights to create extra to charge the battery. Here's the one thing that I care about. I don't care how fast the cars are. I want the racing to actually be competitive. I think there is a chance that these cars they'll probably definitely be more raceable than this year's cars, because I'm going to be honest, it's kind of hard to get less raceable than this year's cars.
For real. I am happy with, the fact the cars are going to be smaller, because I'm usually the smaller the F1 car, the better. One of my favorite cars to drive in iRacing is like the Lotus 49, because I'm a madman, right? And I just love that car. And because it's just such a little car with such a powerful engine. And so I love making the cars smaller. It just makes it more fun, makes the cars more agile, makes the racing better. And so I like the fact that the cars are downsizing next year.
Yes. Kind of reminds me of the McLaren MP44 on Gran Turismo. It's a agile little shit. I love that car.
I say we get rid of all the aero because aero creates dirty air, which makes bad racing.
We just have them race on planks.
No, I'm totally kidding. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. I like Mahey said, smaller car, better racing. Like being able to move around, be more agile, but like reduce the. I mean, we're seeing the problem in NASCAR, right? Like the whole point of the Gen 7 car was, oh, it would be less dirty air because of, blah, 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 blah. And like the diffuser was supposed to help create less dirty air and all this crap. And it's done nothing but create more dirty air because it's more aero coming off the car. That's just kind of how I see it. Like the more downforce is on a car, or more downforce producing parts that are on a car, the more you have to funnel air through stuff and all that fun shit and how it bunches up. And that's kind of what we saw. Like the whole point, that was supposed to be a big point with the ground effect cars at the beginning too. Also was like, oh, it's supposed to be less dirty air so we can actually race, and all it did was make it worse.
Initially, though, it did work because 2022 cars work quite close together. It's just
it's always going to be a problem.
Like it's kind of frustrating though too because like they said, okay, the FIA said, okay, we're gonna actively make rule changes to try and keep the dirty air from getting out of control, and then the teams just rebelled against it, and they were allowed to make the air as dirty as they want because the FIA couldn't put their foot down.
Yeah, well, we saw, it's like, the engineers also would try to find ways to make sure the car following behind would feel all the effects of that dirty air and make it even worse. So, and that's what I worry about. They might start out being able to race a little bit better coming into this next regulation cycle, but then what if, they find ways to really screw the car behind them like they did this cycle?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with how bad the racing has gotten still dates back to the one, it's the hybrid, because the hybrid had so much damn weight, but it's also the 2018 regs that made the cars fucking huge, and they just refused to make them any smaller. Like they're still a little bit smaller, but these cars are still bigger than the 2016 ones.
For real, I mean, they don't need to be as big as a truck, it's a race car. I'm glad they're making it smaller. And when it comes back to aero again, think about what was like the best generation in NASCAR. Most people love the Gen 4. It had the best racing, really, and it had all the aerodynamic properties of a brick. So getting rid of the aero does help the racing.
Yeah, like
the more a car moves around, like under braking, acceleration, all that good stuff. Like it's literally the same conversation we had about the Gen 6 versus the Gen 7 road courses and track stuff. Like the less planted a car is to the ground, the better the racing is, just inherently.
And like, here's the thing.
In my opinion,
to me, the like people will then say, oh, but F1's also this engineering competition, and it's like, yeah, you can have the engineering competition. That doesn't need to come at the expense of the racing, which I feel like they've let it become for a while.
Are you listening, NASCAR? Because they're over engineering shit they don't need to.
I don't know why the people at NASCAR be watching my F1 podcast. I don't know.
They're not. This is the one time we'll go viral for talking about child abuse, and somehow a NASCAR person will see one of the other clips and then be like,
Also, while you're watching, get rid of the damn playoffs. Okay.
And like and subscribe, damn
it. I'm not good at this whole YouTube thing. I'm not much of a self-promoter.
I'm not either. It's fine.
Okay.
We're here to have fun.
Okay, finally moving on to our way too early predictions for 2026. I basically just have 3. And I'll get mine out of the way first. I think that, first off, Ferrari will finish P2 in the championship.
Ooh,
I don't think they're going to win. I don't think next year's their year. But I do think they're going to be good. I think they will win a couple races. But I think it's going to be one of those like heartbreaking seasons like 2010 or 2012 where Fernando lost by a couple points, 2008, you could throw that on there, and not a year like this year where they were just miserable the whole time. I think it would be an amazing. I think what's going to happen, Leclerc's going to win at fucking Monaco and Monza again, and they're going to come up like 5 points short.
I can see that.
My second prediction is I don't think the Mercedes power unit's going to be nearly as good as their advantage in 2014. They might have the best, but I think there's going to be far more parity this time. I'm not like, again, I think a large part of the reason why 2014 they had such an insane advantage was because Ferrari spent way too much time developing in 2013 to try and win the championship. They didn't even come close because Vettel blew them out of the water, which left them way behind. Ferrari's been developing this thing for like 4 years at this point. Honda's been developing this thing for multiple years. Audi's been developing this thing for multiple years. All of the engines on the grid have been being developed for a while. So it's not like Mercedes has this massive like head start like they had in 2014. I don't know. It's possible that a couple of these teams fuck up. It's possible that Mercedes is the worst power unit on the grid. We won't know until Australia next year. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think the Doomers are going to be quite as correct about this whole Mercedes power unit as they have been acting. And finally, I think at least 3 teams will win multiple races next year. I think we're in for a decent season.
I disagree with your first 2 picks, but I think you're probably spot on with the last one right there. I can see a few different teams winning, largely because I think the Mercedes power unit will be good, and a lot of the teams run that Mercedes power unit. So who knows? You might even get a Alpine win out of nowhere next year. I mean, we don't know how the chips are going to fall here.
Again, I don't think that the Mercedes power unit's going to be bad. I think it is going to be probably the best or even the second best, but I don't think it's going to be quite the same advantage. Like were you watching in 2014? Because my God, the advantage Mercedes had that year was hilarious.
I was not watching, but I do know enough of the history to know that Mercedes was it was basically just between, Mercedes drivers at that point.
Like, it was between Mercedes drivers, but like even the rest of the teams, Williams, Force India, McLaren, were far more competitive than the teams using Ferrari and Renault engines.
Even though their aero was, pretty lackluster, but the engine made up for it all.
Yeah. Like, Williams was, I think, 3rd in the championship in 2014. They had a terrible aero.
Just power by on the straights, and then, just start praying in the corners.
Okay, so, there's not, like, a real true way we didn't, decide how we were going to do this, so who wants to give me their 2026 predictions? Actually, Mahiz, you said that you have the most in-depth ones, right?
I don't know if they're necessarily in-depth, but I do have a few ideas that I wanted to, talk about, a few points I wanted to hit.
Because you brought this up, we'll save the floor for you. John, let's get your predictions out of the way first.
Mine are just fun predictions because I get no brain into this at all. We're going to see Fernando Alonso win a race. And we're going to see a Valtteri Bottas podium.
I would love both.
I just went for something that'd be fucking cool to see. I think either any Cadillac podium would be cool between Checo and I know I was kind of harsh on Checo at the end of the Red Bull stuff, but it'd be cool to see either one of them get a podium for Cadillac. I just think it'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be. I look like a genius if it works. So
I wish I was as optimistic as you.
Was that everything?
No, that's it. That's it. Lewis Hamilton's going to retire after next year too.
Yeah, no,
You're probably right,
that feels inevitable.
That's not really a prediction though.
Okay, Mahiz, you can go.
Okay, well, here's the one I want to start with. We'll start with a negative one. I think the Ferrari is going to be a shitbox next year. I think they're going to be... They may not have the worst power unit, but it's going to be close to it. It might be, second worst or something like that, towards, the back of the grid. So I'm not expecting that much from Ferrari next season. I do think Mercedes will have the best power unit. So, I mean, all the evidence seems to point that way. They have a history of, until they prove me wrong, I believe they're going to have the best power unit unless they do prove me wrong. So, and that means, we might have a lot of competitive teams, especially if Mercedes kind of misses it a bit on the arrow if their power units are good. McLaren, maybe Williams or Alpine, so many teams are going to have Mercedes power units. So if they, like Alpine does actually have pretty good aero from what I hear, but the power unit, they've been using this point sucks. So they're confined to the back of the grid. But if that Mercedes power unit is as good as the rumors will lead us to believe, and they do hit on the arrow, then they could be winning races next year. So I wouldn't be too surprised to at least see them be podium contenders next year. I don't think I'm not as crazy to predict a championship, not crazy enough, but I do think they might be able to at least get a podium or maybe multiple next year. So that's what I think. I don't know where McLaren's going to be next year. I think they'll be towards the front, but I don't know if they'll be truly dominant, like they pretty much were this season. So I'm iffy on that one. I think as far as Cadillac goes, they'll probably be at the back of the pack because they had that Ferrari power unit for next year. And since I'm predicting Ferrari to not be the best next year, they'll probably be even worse. So it's going to suck to see like Checo and Bottas towards the back, but I think that probably is what's going to happen. Um, I think like Red Bull and Ford, they might be more towards the middle, not as good as the Mercedes, but if the rumors are to be true that they've hit on something like Mercedes has, Max will probably at least be able to get some podiums. I don't know how consistently, but probably he'll be on track to get multiple at least next year, just because he's Max. I would love to see Fernando do well next year as well with Honda. I don't know. I really believe they would have been like the second best. Honda would be the second best engine next year, but these rumors with Ford, I don't know. Maybe that Ford might be faster, but have more reliability issues because it's a Ford. I don't really know. So, but I think, and maybe I'm just being a little optimistic. I think Fernando as well might be able to get podiums at least next year, but I don't think he'll be able to contend for a championship just because I don't think the power units is going to be as good as Mercedes. I think that's about all that I have.
Well, with that, I think that's about gonna wrap it up. Again, I disagree with like I don't see why Ferrari would build a bad power unit besides the memes. Like their power unit for the like the power unit hasn't really been a problem with them since like 2020. Like it was bad, and that was only because they got fucking nuked into the Stone Age because technically what they were doing was illegal. Uh,
I think it's. Go ahead.
like 2015 their power unit was good, 16, 17, 17 and 18 they nearly won the championship. 19 it got really good up until the crimes, and then like their power unit has been good enough since 2021 to like win races. It's just the rest of the team isn't.
Strategy needs a little bit of help. Definitely top leadership. They could definitely use a top leadership change instead of blaming their drivers.
I think
Maybe they should
Visser
change
is
the top
fine.
leadership.
I think Visser is fine. Like he's not like he's better than some of the people they've had in the past. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
I'm mostly talking about Elkin, like the Ferrari chairman, more than Vasseur.
Well, that is pretty much all we have for you today. This is going to be going up on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, depending on when I can be bothered to edit this. But yeah, thank you two for coming. It has been a great time.
Oh, of course. Thank you for inviting me. Hopefully, we can do it again soon.
Yeah, honestly, if I don't have anybody for the preseason one, I'll invite you back. This has been a great time.
Well, thank you. I'd love to come back again and chat a little more.
And yeah, any final words, Sean?
I'm just here for the memes.
Pretty much. We'll see you guys.
I'm excited. I'm excited for 2026. I think I saw that Australia is 68 days away, so patiently waiting. Daytona's like 44 or 45. It's almost time.
Yeah. The Daytona 24 is in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Racing never sleeps.
I will not be doing that on iRacing this year. I don't think.
MX5 Cup. I'm usually hyped for the MX5 Cup too, Daytona.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Didn't you get like wiped out like a couple like hours in by a fucking Porsche driver last year?
Probably. I don't even remember. We ended up on the podium last year for the GT class. I do remember that. We had some banger stints. I think I drove like I think 3 or 4 doubles in the middle of the night, like the middle of the night for me, and we my teammates did a really good job putting us in a good position, and I just drove as hard as I could and thankfully didn't wreck. So
yeah, I think I remember
we ended up on
now.
the podium.
Yeah, I remember.
Ended up on the podium.
Must have been Sonny Hayes in the Porsche.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking Keller, dude. Some of these people on there are just assholes and idiots.
But yeah, I definitely do think I remember. I remember that because I do think I remember you wrecking early on. Some Porsche fucking killed you, and then you recovered, in what was a fantastic drive to get back to the podium. But yeah, that last bit had nothing to do with F1. But yeah, we will go visit JK Gaming. He's streaming college football.
Yeah, we're having fun with that.
But yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in March.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Bye-bye.